What's going on, guys? It's Gale here, welcoming you to another build video for Dragon Age 2. Today is the strongest build in the game, the Shadow Assassin Rogue. As always with my build videos, there will be a link in the description to a Google Sheet, or just pause the video here for full details on leveling and equipment for the build. The primary attributes we will be leveling in this build will be Dexterity and Cunning. The playstyle for this build will be dashing around the battlefield one-shotting high-value targets such as archers and mages before they can damage your team. If you're planning a nightmare playthrough, this is in my opinion the strongest build in the entire game, and it's also very fun. We will have 3 core abilities for the early game: Backstab, Explosive Strike, and Twin Fangs. Backstab is the first ability we will be acquiring. This ability not only has a low cooldown and solid damage, but dashes to and repositions us behind the target, allowing for higher damage. Explosive Strike is the next ability we will acquire after we get the passive ability for it called Unforgiving Chain. This ability shows a stacking modifier that increases your crit chance with every attack. We are able to detonate these stacks by using Explosive Strike when there are enough stacks on the target for a huge burst of damage. The more stacks, the more damage. Another important aspect of this ability is that we can transfer the stacks between targets. So if one target is already close to death, then wait to use the ability on another target. Be careful though, because if you use another ability besides Explosive Strike, the stacks will disappear entirely. The final core ability for this build in the early game is Twin Fangs. This is possibly the single strongest ability in the build. It basically allows you to kill anything you want every 20 seconds after you get the upgrade for it. It does unbelievable damage. Use Backstab and Twin Fangs together to eliminate any problems you may have. And as always, the best early game ability in the game, Dog. If you play on Nightmare, his ability to take aggro will save you more than once. We will be using 2 very important specializations with this build, Assassin and Shadow. Assassin will be providing us with some very important extra damaging abilities in Mark of Death and Assassinate. Shadow will give us some much needed survivability in Decoy and Inconspicuous. Assassinate is another ability that just deals a lot of damage. It basically gives us an extra kill button just like Twin Fangs. So now we're able to one-shot 3 things in nearly every fight. Having all of the single target damage is also very useful versus bosses. And speaking of bosses, our next main ability we get from the Assassin spec is Mark of Death, which when fully upgraded lowers the enemy damage resistance by 50% for 20 seconds, which is absolutely nuts versus bosses or other high health targets. The last ability worth mentioning in this build is Decoy. We won't be getting this ability until pretty far into the end game, but it's an absolute lifesaver when you do get it. Decoy, when upgraded, will provide us with 15 seconds of distraction to reposition within the fights and allow us time to reset our cooldowns to go back for round 2. Here is an overview of all of the best in-slot armor for this build. As always, where to find the gear will be in the Google link in the description. If this video was useful for you, please like and subscribe, and thank you all very much for watching.